How do you vet a property manager? Other than wearing a hat, but we're not gonna wear the hat. Just got a fresh haircut, looking good. Shout out to my barber, he's the shit. Okay, so first things first, you have to check, or what I would do is I would check the reviews and check with other landlords and see if who they would recommend. The other thing I would do is go on a Facebook page for investors and ask them, like, hey, who would you recommend for a property manager? And see who the vast majority of people are using. In my area, everyone always sucked, so I've never used a property manager until we started our own company, because I only heard horror stories from everyone about their experience with the property manager. Instead of having horror stories with tenants, they had horror stories with property managers, right? So, but I think there's some very important questions that you want to ask when you're vetting the property manager, right? And I guess here's some of them, and I'll kind of answer them like what I think their responses should be, right? So the biggest thing is, like, how many units do they manage? Not that that's really important, but how many units are assigned to each property manager that works for them, right? So does one person manage 50, 100, 1,000, right? And that'll kind of give you a hint to how busy that person is and how well your property is going to get, like what kind of attention it's going to get, right? The other thing is unit turns. How long do they take, and how much does it cost for them to turn a unit, right? What kind of fees do they charge, right? That's important too. I guess I didn't even think about that at first, but do they charge a percent? Do they charge a flat fee? Do they charge you extra for renting out the place? Do they charge you extra for a call? Do they charge you extra, right? Make sure you know all the fees that are involved. That's really important. Obviously, if they check the first box of being a property manager you actually want to use, that doesn't have crappy reviews. And to kind of go off of that too, it's hard to be a property manager because half the time you're the bad guy in all scenarios, right? From a tenant standpoint and a landlord standpoint, right? So you're kind of stuck between landlords and tenants, and you're either the bad guy on this side or the other side. So you're always the bad guy on one end of the spectrum. So it is really hard to have good reviews and keep everyone happy, right? But anyway, unit turns, right? How long do they take? All that stuff. Next is how quickly can they fill up a unit? So how long, what's their process for filling up a unit? So if you have a house, is it going to take a month or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5? How long does it take them to get a new tenant in there? Obviously, how many properties I think is important they have in that area, and how many tenants are they attracting? So that means, do they have a waiting list, right? Because that could be huge for your vacancy to be minimal. If there's a lot of demand in that area, not a lot of houses, and they're a well-known company that handles a lot of houses in the area, they might have a waiting list for people, which would be great for your vacancy. The other thing is, what kind of software do they use? Do they use a software? And what kind of interface do you see? Can you see exactly how much money is being spent, what kind of repairs are being done, you know, all the different charges? And that kind of goes into is how they handle maintenance, right? How they, like, if something happens, do they have on-site maintenance staff that can take care of it? And how quickly do they take care of those things? Or do they call some other third party that comes in, right? And how long does that take? And I guess back to the software thing is like the tenant portal, how they collect rent, how they pay you, all that stuff. That's just a bunch of questions that I would ask a property manager if I was vetting them. And obviously we started a property management company because, you know, things get born from necessity, right? So we needed a property management company that could handle our units and do things the way that we expected, and with pride, and, you know, not just be like slumlords, right? And that's why we started a company, because we didn't see any property managers in the area dealing with things the way we wanted them dealt with. But those are some of the questions that I would ask a property manager if I was vetting them. And if you have any other questions, let me know, and I hope you have a great weekend.